Our first presentation of the evening is the Business Leadership Award, created to recognize a business entity for its impact in promoting leadership principles and practices, implementing programs worthy of example, and fostering growth of quality leadership. To present the award is Jennifer Meeson, Chief Executive Officer of Cotton Electric Cooperative. And please welcome Jennifer to the stage.
Well, good evening. So I see some of my classmates from class 28 right there, so excited to see you guys. So I'm honored tonight to introduce the video for the Oklahoma Association of Electric Cooperatives. So OAEC is a statewide association created and voluntarily supported by rural electric cooperatives. I myself work for Cotton Electric Cooperative, who is a member of OAEC. So they're comprised of 30 member systems, 28 in Oklahoma and 2 in Arkansas that have a portion of their membership that reside within our state. Now, the purpose of OAEC does go beyond legislative relations. OAEC is a champion for the people of Oklahoma, for the rural and suburban areas that we serve throughout the state. And they strive every day to ensure that Oklahomans have safe, reliable, and affordable power. OAEC also serves as a statewide coordinator for the Youth Tour program, which has sent hundreds of high school juniors to Washington, D.C. to learn about our federal government. And they also sponsor a camp for 8th graders called Energy Camp that teaches about electrical safety and the cooperative business model. And both of these programs have been credited with changing the lives of many of those participants. OAEC also coordinates one of the largest volunteer programs for Special Olympics, which I know many of you also participate in. The group volunteers in the concession stands, escorting wheelchair athletes, staging athletes, acting as starters, runners during the races, timekeepers, and of course, encouragers for all of those participants. So you see the effects of OAEC's efforts through the alumni of the Youth Tour program, many who have found their purpose during that week in Washington, D.C. and choose careers in public service. You also see the joys in the faces of the Special Olympians as the volunteers assist with the games. And you see the power of the OAEC network that brings co-ops from across the state together to restore power after major storms have wreaked havoc through our communities, which all of us in Oklahoma are very familiar with. Now, OAEC completed their first international project, so beyond the state of Oklahoma, electrifying a village in Bolivia in 2016. Now, since then, we've done a few more projects, and I was actually able to go in 2018 to witness the electrification of a village in Guatemala. And that was a life-changing experience for me, as well as all of our volunteers. And so we are going back to Guatemala later this year in the summer to electrify another village. And when you go and you witness that, it's much like rural Oklahoma back in the 20s and 30s before electricity came to the rural areas that we serve. And you see firsthand what a life-changing experience that is for those villagers. And that's something that statewide works with other cooperatives across the country. So OAEC strengthens the electric cooperatives of our state so that we can focus on a common goal, and that is improving the quality of life in Oklahoma. What all of us are here to do is to make our state better. And that is what General Manager and CEO Chris Myers, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here tonight, but you'll be able to see him speak about the mission of OAEC and in this video.
People don't know that much about OAEC necessarily because we're the association that supports all of the smaller rural electric cooperatives across the state. And we do that by providing safety training for linemen. We do all the things that make more sense to do together than individually. We provide workers' comp insurance. We provide Oklahoma Living Magazine. It's the largest publication in the state. It has some industry news, and it promotes the cooperative and those members we serve. It's hard to imagine not having electricity, but for 30 years, people in rural Oklahoma lived without electricity while their relatives in town had it. The REA was part of FDR's New Deal, and he recognized how difficult life was for these rural people and what a challenge it was for them in many, many ways, but one of them was their lack of access to electric power. And so while we had all the WPA programs and other things going, he really pushed for rural electrification. And so what that did really is it provided rural people with two things. It provided them with a business model, this self-help cooperative business model. The second thing it did is it gave them access to capital. It's very expensive to build out an electric system. So the federal government had a loan program where we could borrow money from the federal government to get the system built, and it's paid back with interest. There are 900 plus electric cooperatives across the country, and there are 27 distribution co-ops in Oklahoma. Willie Wired Hand is an electric cooperative mascot, and I think a lot of people are familiar with Ready Kilowatt. Willie Wired Hand came out about shortly after Ready Kilowatt, and it got its name because on the farm, once they got electricity, it was just like having an extra hand because they could do so much more work. When a mother had a baby, and the co-op knew about it, and I'm telling you, we know our communities, we probably didn't miss very many people. The mothers were given this nightlight. We have our metropolitan areas and we have our towns, but over 90% of the landmass is truly rural, and we serve virtually all of that. We have more miles of power line than the investor owns and the municipal systems combined. So the co-op will actually be governed by a board of directors that is elected from the membership. And that membership elects someone from usually a district to serve on the board. And those board members are actually consumers of that co-op. They have to be on the board. And all of our cooperatives are very community focused, whether it be scholarships, our youth tour program, an energy camp, but we also give back to a bigger community. We're involved in electrifying rural areas around the world. Oklahoma's been involved in projects in Guatemala and Bolivia. And we will take volunteer linemen, and they'll spend 2 weeks building out an electric infrastructure for the poorest of the poor in these remote areas of these countries. We are doing for them what we did in the 30s for rural Americans. We are enhancing their quality of life tremendously, and it gives them a chance to break that cycle of poverty. Right now, we're an industry in transition. We're adopting more and more renewables. We do adopt it, but we have to be careful about doing it in an affordable and reliable way. We rely on electric power. We take it for granted. That happens with the hard work of all of these men and women in this industry, and we take it for granted. And I think that's great. I don't think we should have to worry about it. But when it's gone, when the power goes out, we find out how much we rely on power. And I'm very proud of the fact that I'm in this industry and our co-ops are in this industry, providing a very essential service to the citizens of Oklahoma. We absolutely have to have it in this day and age.
This year's Business Leadership Award goes to the Oklahoma Association of Electric Cooperatives. And here to accept the award is board member Tim Smith, since Chris Myers could not be with us. Tim?